Can you
Hello
hear
and
me
welcome,
perfectly?
mate. Yeah, we can hear you perfectly. Can you hear us? Okay.
All right. Aye, there's a little bit of a buzz when you're talking, but it's fine.
Oh, okay. It must be Lee's because mine setup's perfect.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can. It's just like a little bit of a buzz, but I can understand what you're saying.
That's called charisma, mate.
That's cool.
I've worked
Podcast
with
charisma.
We'll be able to. Hopefully, it doesn't cause you too many problems, but we'll be able to sort that with the audio. That'll be for me to look at anyway. But I can't hear any buzzing or anything, so yeah. But we'll jump in, man. I Hello and welcome back, everybody, to this Move, Sweat and Suffer podcast. Man, Lee Hazard and myself, Joe Hortai, co-founders for this podcast, are stoked. We're pumped, excited to have the incredible James Brews, the founder and creator of the Brews Burpee, which Lee Hazard is taking credit for. Lee Hazard also takes credit for discovering James Brews and putting him out there. Don't worry, Brews. James, we're going to give you a chance to nullify and
Don't
shut
worry,
all of
I'm
that
humble
down.
about it.
Yeah. No, but mate, we are so pleased to have you on. You are an absolute machine. Thank you for the work that you put out and show through your example. And mate, we just want to jump straight in. If you wouldn't mind just telling us a bit about yourself, who you are, what you do. Are you a superhero? Are you a bloody professional athlete? What is it? Give us a bit of a background, mate. We'd love for you to start there and then we'll jump in from there.
Right. Well, my name's James. I'm 32 years old. I live in Aberdeen, obviously, because Lee would have told everyone that by now. But I'm not from Aberdeen. I was born in Germany.
Right.
My family's got an army background, so we moved about a lot when I was younger. So we were actually stationed in Munster when I was born. So
Right.
that's where I was born. My dad's Scottish. I've got a Filipino mum. And since then, we've moved about a lot. So it's taken me from Germany to Ireland and rested up in Scotland. So since it was at the end of, well, it's about when I was 8, 9 years old when we came to Scotland. So finished my education here, and that's why I picked up this accent. But I still have this tan I can't rub off. So
That's awesome, man. Great to hear. See, so that's Scottish and Filipino, did you say?
yeah,
Heritage.
yeah.
Beautiful, man. That's awesome. Go on, Lee.
What
I
a
can see you.
combination.
Yeah. Deadly
But
combination.
people when I start talking, because I look this way in Scotland, they think that you'll talk a certain way, and then I start talking. It's like, how the fuck did that noise come out of his head?
I can imagine. Yeah, well, when I saw, I was like, who's this guy? Like you have like a Polynesian Pacific Islander look about you as well. That was my initial thought. Then I heard you speak and I was like, that guy ain't no Polynesian. So, but yeah, it's awesome, man. So your dad was in the military, did you say?
Yeah.
Did you serve? Are you serving in the military as well, or?
No, no.
Okay. And you are, what do you do for crust? What do you do for bread apart from, what do you do to make a living and that sort of thing?
Well, I work in a hospital here in Ireland. It just keeps me quite busy. I have to be
Wow.
quite active for the role, so a very demanding job.
I bet. I bet. Awesome. How long you been doing that for, James?
Well, it's before the lockdown happened. I was actually a youth worker, so I was working with primary school kids, primary 1 to 7,
Yeah.
and I was mainly doing, because they seen I had a fitness background, so I was mainly doing fitness aspects with the kids. So
Yeah.
that was quite interesting. It was just when the lockdown actually started, I was furloughed and I was looking for work. So it's always along those lines of helping people. But I've been like a support worker in the past. My current role is a healthcare support worker. So it's a very
Awesome.
demanding job.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate to that. That's awesome, man.
James, do you do your burpees in the hospital? Like some of your videos are they in the hospital?
Oh, well, that's the thing though, because when the schools first shut during the first lockdown, we were all told to make certain videos, like online things to post for social media, and they were always telling me like, James, you've got to do a workout video for the kids, something like a Joe Wick style video. Um, I made one, And apparently it was well received, but I didn't see anybody do it, so I don't know if it was too hard for them. But I made it. I made it was like my workout, but half of my workout. So
that would have
easy for them.
Yeah,
It did include burpees though.
It didn't. It did include.
Yep.
I was gonna say your workout to make it easy for them still would have been beyond their.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing though, because when I've been doing burpees for years, years up until this point. It was only until the start of 2020 that I started seeing a lot more people doing burpees on YouTube.
Right.
Up until that point, no one was really doing anything. Obviously, everyone's seen Iron Wolf doing a certain video and just clocked on to it.
Yeah.
But for years, I was always doing a single type of burpee. I was doing a press up with a tuck jump, because I've seen a lot of people in the past who would do a press up, come up, clap their hands above their head, and I was always like, seems a bit naff to me. It's like stuff CrossFitters do, you know. And then they'll come up with their backs like coming back, you know, coming last, and you're like, doesn't look good to me. So what I used to do was like I would do interval training. So it would be like 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and I would do my set of burpees would be 10 of those press ups with a tuck jump. So that's one, and I would do 10 in 30 seconds, and before you know it, it's building power, strength. You know, just to get from the tuck jump back down to the press up again was hard enough. So I was doing that for years, really. So that's I consider that fun.
It looks like fun. It looks painful, and it is painful too. I tried some of those, and I was telling Lee my first attempt, only my upper body came off the ground on the push-up part, and then I seen Derek Towers, who did a version of yours, which was awesome. He does the squat, jump forward, squat, jump back, squat, and then into that burpee and just a straight push off the ground. That alone was hard enough for me, and I've only managed to ever do one of your where I slapped my thighs. That was on the last rep. So I've only done one of those, mate. It's incredible the work that you do. I can see Lee has it just dying to ask something, but I just keep jumping in. Sorry, Lee.
By the way, Lee, I did see that announcement video you did for a Move Sweat Suffer, and you were like, he's gonna be angry when he sees this video. Was it you're wanting royalties?
Yeah, that's right.
I was like, how can you get royalties from a burpee?
He wanted
what are you talking about?
Name in it, or something.
What have you released an exercise DVD or something like that? Do you know what I mean?
Well, thanks for telling me. I'm not going to do that now.
A collaboration with Davina McCall or something like
that. Just sell it on the black market.
I don't know what you want to sell on the black market with Davina McCall, mate. But no, I'm just in awe once again of another guest, and particularly one that the Busy Dad describes as the second best burpee practitioner in the world.
Yeah, that's right. Did you hear that, James, from
no.
Busy Dad?
Was that when you interviewed Busy Dad?
Yeah.
Saturday. Yeah.
At the correct me if I'm wrong, Lee, but at the top of his list, I think he mentioned Burpees Ikram.
Yeah, Burpees Ikram came first.
And then James Brews.
And James.
And we're like, yeah, man. We're like, wow. But you said something cheeky, as you always do, Lee. You're like, that guy's head is just going to explode because Busy Dad's just put him as the second.
I think I said because I can see his head for Aberdeen if you hear. He'll love that. But you know what? It's like I'm not going to argue with it because James is a guy that 100%. Blows my mind every time I watch him.
Yeah.
Like I think he's like really original in the burpee sphere.
Yeah, so do I. And I think a testament to that is just as James was saying, he's been doing them for years, so such a long time. Actually, that's a good question, James. So who did you see first? Because you mentioned you started, people weren't really doing them, we didn't really see it. Who did you come across first on YouTube or online that you saw and thought, far out, there's some people doing them?
Well, I think you know who I would have seen first that was doing it.
Iron Wolf.
Over a period of time was Iron Wolf.
Right.
I seen his videos and I was like, where's the tuck jump? Yeah. That's what I'm used to seeing. Yeah. And I would just see him get back up and he's doing about 500 of them. I'm like, all right, okay, so this is something different. It was only until I started trying to do it just without the tuck jump, I was like, oh, this is different. This is not like interval training that I'm used to. So that was cool. But ever since then, I've seen so many people sprout up onto YouTube.
Yeah.
I never really had the belief to do it myself. It was only until the miss to get my arse out of shape and start a video. So I thought I might as well do it at some point. So
Yeah.
So how did it feel making that? Sorry, Joe, but how did
No,
it
you're
feel making that transition from like your style of burpee with the tuck jump and so forth to like a traditional 6 count? What was your initial thoughts?
I wasn't used to it, but I thought it would be good to emulate others. And I've seen so many people doing it. I was like, I'll see if I can do it. And you know what? I still prefer my interval training compared to just doing 300, 400, 500 burpees in one go.
Yeah.
Because I find personally,
Yeah.
myself, I don't get any mind muscle connection doing it that way. My muscles seem to think more like you're going to do something for 30 seconds and then stop and then do it again and then stop.
Awesome.
Because, you know, your body doesn't know what 500 is.
Yeah.
You know, I might start to get really tired and fatigued at about 379, but then my body will be like, stop. But no, I just keep going for a certain number. So that's why I've been doing different routines recently. If you've seen, I've just been trying to create so many different types and basically trying to just kick my backside doing it, and it's been working. So I feel the benefit doing it that way.
Yeah, I noticed like it's very plyometrics based.
Yeah, there's a lot of power, but at the same time, all that stuff, like what Lee's just mentioned and what you're describing, James, like that explosive power, the strength, the conditioning, man, I feel it in my lungs just doing that squat, jump, squat, and then just doing the 6 count. Like that's been awesome. It's so I really respect and appreciate what you're doing. And just sort of on the back end of what Lee's question was, did you find them easier, like without doing the tuck jump, you know, because you've been so used to it when it was time to do 300, 500, whatever the number's been, with just those traditional amounts? Did you find yourself having a lot more gas, a lot more wind in the engine, so to speak?
No, because neither's an easier routine. It's just a different type of pump that you get from it.
Right.
That's another reason why I started doing these types of videos on my channel, was because I just stuck the camera up in the garage and just hit record.
Yeah.
So I know it's getting to a point where like, why doesn't he talk?
Yeah.
It's like I just stuck it on. I've got my camera, a bottle of weed killer. That's my setup, and I sweep the garage, and I'm like, right, oh, there's a spider, whack it off, and get started. That's how I do it. That's how I originally wanted to do it, but I think since what I'm giving to the community, at the moment, I think I need to buck up my ideas. And you know, it was only until Dad told me to start using editing skills that I've started editing my getting thumbnails in and things like that. So
awesome, man, awesome.
I'm just trying to help you, mate. I really want you to do well, you know.
Mate,
and you know what? It's with the burpee community, everyone is inspiring everyone in different ways.
Yeah.
And it's great. I don't want everyone, you know, personally, I don't want everyone doing the same thing just over and over again. That's boring. Let's all try something different. Don't be afraid to do different routines. Even if you get laughed at, who cares, you know?
Great advice, man. That's awesome. What was that? What do you think was, because I think this could be a helpful point, just going off, and correct me if I'm wrong, James, off what you were mentioning before, what do you think was holding you back from putting yourself out there in the first place? Like in terms, because I think you mentioned you had a chat with your missus, and then she encouraged you by the sounds of things, which is great that she did that. So shout out to her. But what do you think was holding you back from going, yeah, I could do that? Because you saw the Iron Wolf, but it doesn't sound like you were willing to commit to put yourself out there straight away.
Self-confidence was a big thing.
Yeah.
Just being in front of a camera, I never get used to it. Never.
Yeah.
You know, you press record, that's one thing, and then you look back at it and you're like, oh my God, is that me?
Is that what I sound
My head
like?
shape is all wrong. Everything's wrong. Just delete it.
I think that's
I've
about a
done, I've,
self-sabotage kicking in, like,
Yeah.
because
uh,
that's something I can
I've done
empathise
that a
with.
few times. I've done that a few times. A couple of videos just haven't made it. I've looked at them like, nah.
Yeah. But I
I
appreciate you.
think they call it a perfectionist.
Yeah. Or OCD, perfectionist. But I think
No,
it's
no,
great.
I stick with perfectionist. That sounds better.
Perfectionist.
But you know what? Like the thing is like so like the problem I have with that is I think that is completely against what this community is actually about. Because fitness is really glossy nowadays. Like it's all about drones flying over gyms and like young guys walking in with Gymshark gear and backpacks and big hold alls and they get out a Lamborghini. You know what I mean? Because they're making so much money off online coaching. Whereas, like, the burpee community is the complete opposite. It is unedited, it is imperfect. Like, I'm bouncing about in pre-marked shorts and a big beard, looking like a complete maniac. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Exactly.
like I think that you need to take that perfectionism and just throw it away. It needs to, like you say yourself, it's the bottle of weed killer. It's you in the garage. It's you going up and just trying to force that like program out and get your words out there. That's what makes us watch because then you see the action take place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally
So
understand.
that's part of that is why we watch. Because if like I mean I don't think you could be any more good looking James, but if you were like Jim Sharked up and so forth, it just wouldn't be the same.
Aye.
Are you
No,
saying
I
you wouldn't
totally
watch them?
understand you. Totally understand your point. But the videos that I have deleted, that I've gotten a better time than my previous video,
Yeah.
and I still just delete it. It's what I was like before. I'm learning to
Yeah.
get a lot more in touch with myself being on camera. Like right now, I can see myself. I feel a little bit like taken aback by it, but you know what? You just have to get used to it. So it will happen over time, Lee. Don't worry about that.
Good mate, good.
It's the little things. It's like when you're doing a video and then your little kid starts running about and you hear him in the background. I can, it's relatable to people.
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely. I
feel like,
mean,
uh,
And
you're
that's
not
what,
the first person to have made comment on that. Sorry.
yeah.
That's one thing like that's been brought up to me before is that people can relate to the fact that I've got a kid in the next room that I'm like if you watch most of my burpee videos you can always see me looking over to the other
yeah,
side every single burpee because I've got like a 1-year-old that's got his head wrapped around like a walker or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So I've got that extra attention and like I said before to Joe, I'm sure a couple of podcasts ago, it's almost like a performance enhancing
Yeah. That's
drug.
it
How
makes you a lot more sharp.
right.
Oh, it's my mind is. I don't know if I'll be getting Alzheimer's or anything like that. I think my brain cells will be like in perpetual motion for years.
Okay, but I love the points that you mentioned, James, because I don't think you're alone in that regard. With regards to people wanting to take that step, I think there's people that are probably still in that space now that I think that will gain a lot of benefit from that, and it does take time. You're 100% right, and we've been seeing that, and I think Lee's even touched on it. We've seen you and others evolve over time, and that's a great thing. That's the great thing about this community. So people put comments, may be great, and Lee's touched on this before and other ones about the need for or people wanting to connect and know a little bit more about you, and about the individuals that are there. So just expressing yourself and having a bit more of your personality come through, I think people connect with that. They're like, oh wow, okay, that accent. Oh, this guy's in Scotland. We just had a guy recently comment on the podcast and say, hey, on the Move Sweat and stuff. I go, are you guys in Auckland? And it's like, oh, actually, well, I'm in Auckland, but Lee's in Scotland. So just little things like that, which is cool. So I'm really grateful that you shared that and that you seems like coming more and more out of your shell. You are a very devastatingly handsome looking man, James. And I was going to ask,
Stop lying.
have you done any modeling? Have you been on the cover of Men's Health? No,
No, not
no.
yet. You sound like
See,
a salesman. What are you selling, Joe?
I could maybe be
Snake
your
oil.
agent. I could be your agent.
With that ripped burpee honed physique.
No, yeah,
Top's never coming off.
there's been a few comments around that, and yeah, mate, it's amazing what you do. So obviously you like the high intensity interval style training stuff, which is obvious of the results that it provides. Like seeing you smash through the 500 six counts was just, what was it, 29 minutes, something like that, was
Oh,
amazing.
it was. You know what? That video. A lot of people really get touchy with the whole counting, so I had to redo the video again, and I was like, oh, you
Yeah,
know,
because it was a
and I was
response to
like,
the latest one, eh?
yeah, I was getting a lot of fanboys coming in and going, "Oh, you didn't do this right. You didn't do that right." It's like you haven't even got a video up, mate.
Yeah,
You do
that's
nothing. Who are you talking to?
100%.
I detected a bit of rage in that video, the second
Oh,
one.
the rage is always in my heart. That's what keeps me.
I,
What keeps me making videos.
I could tell with the way you'd like described it, like you had in the description and so forth. I could just feel that Brew's rage.
And then it
Feel
was put
myself
into
turning red already.
I love it.
Yeah, mate, it was awesome. It was awesome. So the with your interval style training, do you have a specific program structure that you follow on a week to week, or are you more sort of ad hoc, sort of like I know for myself and for Lee, we're probably much more ad hoc with our training. Is yours, Busy Dad's, quite structured with what he does and what he aims to do? Do you have a set structure with yours, James, and about how you go about getting your work in each day?
Uh, I try to keep it fun.
Yeah,
So at the moment, the workouts I do correlate with the videos I'm putting up. So
right.
I'll try something that might not work,
Yeah.
but I'll try anyway. But I'm doing something every single day. It
Mm,
tends to be body weight. And the days that I'm not recording, I'm doing those Tabata hit style training
right.
workouts that I told you about. I just don't hit record in those videos.
Gotcha.
And the days that I might not work out, I do a long walk instead. So there's always something you can do.
Yeah, yeah. Do you do much running out of interest?
Uh, well, if you can tell from the profile picture on
Yeah,
YouTube,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's me doing a half marathon. I did that twice.
Right.
I'm self-taught. I never joined a running club or anything like that. I just used to love running.
Yeah.
You know, I always used to love it. Yeah, and my only training for running was on the treadmill. That was it.
Right.
And you can't run in Aberdeen city centre like that. You'd be stopping every 30 seconds at traffic lights. It's impossible. And I was like, it was just one day. I was like, because they've stopped the half marathons here now, but in like a couple of years back, they had them going on. I was like, I want to try this, see how hard it is.
Yeah.
So it was like the half marathon was in August, and I just started training in June, and all my training was on a treadmill. And my first finish was 115th, and I think I was out of 3,000 to 4,000 people doing
Bloody
that.
hell.
And then the year after, which is the profile picture from my YouTube channel,
Yeah.
I think there was more people in that race, and I finished 85th. And this
Wow.
was all me on a treadmill. So, and even after that, I had people like, "What's your training methods?" I'll be like, "I just used to train on a treadmill as hard as possible." I had a certain way to build up throughout the week to make it harder, but that's how
Yeah.
I did it. And a lot of people are like, you can't train like that. I'm like, well, I just told you I did. But yeah, that's what I would do. So
Wow.
that's the kind of person I am. If I want
Yeah.
to do something like that, I'll do it.
Do you know what? It's interesting you say that, because the one thing that jumps out about to me about you, James, is your mindset.
Mm.
It's no, I mean, we can sit here and say you're a unit and
Mm.
you get great athletic genetics and so forth, but what jumps out at me is I think it's actually a mindset thing with yourself, because I can just see you when you're grinding through the 500 burpees, and like you mentioned earlier, it's once you get to 379, the mind kicks in at that point. And
Yeah.
to obviously be running on a treadmill and so forth and finish high in a half marathon against people who have probably been pounding the pavements for years is,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It goes to show you the power of the mind in these physical endeavours as
Oh
opposed
yeah.
to just
Yeah.
raw talent. I
Oh
think
yeah. And
there's a podcast I listen to. It's Andrew Huberman, and he focuses on endurance, and a big part of that is that endurance is mostly mental. We've
Mm.
all got the physical capability to go a long way, but do we have the mental capacity to do so? And that's what holds us back. And that's obviously what, to me, what jumps out about you is you've got that mindset. I mean, being able to do 500 burpees in that time is phenomenal.
Insane, yeah.
Oh,
I did them last night.
It's like the quote from Mike Tyson. Apparently, he said, "Everyone has a plan until they're punched in the face." So
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
in the mindset. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Incredible, man. And so do you incorporate a lot of running week to week, like in your current training, or is it more the hit style stuff, your Sparta stuff, the stuff that you don't record, and then the stuff that you do record? Do you do much running during the week? And if you do, how much running? Is it a couple of days a week, 3 days a week?
Don't do running.
Don't do any running.
No.
Wow, interesting. That's awesome. So you
Well,
the
listen.
running. Yeah.
Well. I will do the closest I'll do to running right now is do five Brews burpees
Yeah.
on the spot, one after another. And once you've done that, run to one end
Yeah. Gotcha.
of like a street corner or whatever, and then run back.
Yeah.
And then that's the first set done, and then you have about 20 seconds rest. Do it again.
Yeah. Gotcha.
That's kind of like running, isn't it?
Well, that's still got running. And how long's that? What's that? 50 meters, 100 meters there and back total, or
It's long enough. Long enough. I
enough,
tell you,
yeah,
your heart feels like it's coming out.
Wait, the Brews burpees are long enough.
So I haven't seen anybody do 10 of them in a row. I made a video about it. I was waiting for somebody to rubbish it and go, this is not right. I blew my back out.
Yeah.
No one's done it yet.
I haven't seen anybody do it either. I've seen Fitness Throttle do a shout out and do some reps. I don't know if they were all like back to back to back, but man, good on him. I think he did 60 or something. I've seen one of his.
Yeah, I've seen that video.
Yeah.
I've seen that video. I see he just released a video today, again, inspired by one of my routines. So.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Your workouts tend to be quite inspirational because I see a lot of people emulating them, and that's not something I often see. The only guys I see being emulated are guys like the Iron Wolf. People use their workouts. I do that quite a lot myself, but I'm starting to see your name appear, like people saying, "I'm doing a Brews burpee." In fact, I think I seen Derek Towers do one today, and no offence to Derek, but dearie me, man, I thought his wrists were going to turn to chalk. It was the way he just landed on them.
Tell you what,
somebody that's drunk.
When it be a video though, if he's doing it, does one while there's music in the background, there's all that wonky music that he has, and he actually does turn his wrist the other way. I'd watch that video.
Every time I hear his music, I just think incense sticks. And
I think it's one of his friends, One of his friends that provides the music. I think he puts a note in the description, shouts out his mate. But
I did watch the Derek podcast. That was great. Loved his content. Yeah. It's great to hear everyone's background. Put a face to it. So it was inspiring.
Definitely, especially some of the adversity that people have overcome, like Derek, like Busy Dad, like Rob. And so I guess actually that's a good question for yourself, James. What challenges, I guess, have you found yourself needing? Have you had to overcome any challenges? It doesn't, from a person or from my side looking at you, looking from an external perspective into what I see, that the small snapshot that I see of what you put out there, I look at it and think, this guy's been training for ages. Have you had to overcome any challenges and stuff like that for yourself?
Well, the biggest challenge I had in my life was I overcame a serious eating disorder from in my early 20s, and I was admitted into hospital for that. So I went down to 6 stone at one point. And I had to come back from that. So I was stuck in a hospital for quite a while with this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was that? Just something that was genetic that the doctors need to provide medication for? Was it? How did that come about?
Well, living in the northeast of Scotland, something happens to you. You need to have good people around you to be seeing this happen. If you don't, you could just fall through the cracks in the pavement. That's what happened to me. So for a period of time, like I went into hospital when I was 21. I'm 32 now, and I was an inpatient in a psychiatric hospital, and I was locked up, basically. Didn't know what was going on. brain wasn't functioning well. Didn't eat at
Because
all.
you,
I used,
yeah.
yeah, I was walking a lot. Just I was collapsing at work, collapsing outside. Family didn't know what I was doing, and yeah, I was told. It was actually my mum that found me. She found me just passed out before she had to go to work, and it was my day off of all days, and she couldn't go to work. I was stuck. I was stuck on the couch. I remember that, just curled up in the fetal position, and she was like, she thought everyone that's seen me at that time was like, you look like someone from a concentration camp. And at the time, because my brain is so, it's out of it. It doesn't have any nutrients in it. I wasn't thinking straight whatsoever. I had no calories whatsoever. And she phoned the emergency GP at the time. Remember him coming over and he's like, lift up your shirt, blah, blah, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I'm fine. I'm fine. And he was like, tomorrow you're going to hospital whether you like it or not. You either get sectioned or you go voluntarily. And I was like, okay. So that was a big change in my life.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. Thanks for sharing that, James. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
very, very personal and private. So how long, so you're in there at 21 and you don't need to, but man, I think this is again, really going to be really helpful for so many people, not only to get to know you, but for people that may be going through similar things. How long did that process take for you to get back to what I guess medical professionals would have called a healthy weight, or where you were feeling like you had better cognitive function, or whatever however you want to describe it? How long were you in there for?
Years.
Wow,
Yeah.
man.
The real journey and recovery started the moment I left hospital. When you're in hospital, you could say anything you want. You can just eat all the meals, tell you know what I mean? I want to get out, just eat all the meals, get to a healthy weight. Your brain's still not functioning correctly.
Right.
And that's, it took years. Once I got out, because you're like an inpatient, day patient, outpatient, and then you're released. But you're released to, you'll have a support team around you. Like I was assigned somebody who's a mental health practitioner, close to where I stayed, and I would see her regularly, and it's always to do with weight and food, and it was a massive part of my life for a couple of years. And it was, I look back at it now and I'm like, that's a totally different person.
Wow, man, that's incredible.
I still have a lot of mementos and things from hospital. Like I kept the letters I got. I even kept the brochure that I got before I was actually put in hospital.
Is that right?
I remember looking at it like, oh my God, this is it. I'm finished after this. But yeah, I kept all of them to remind myself how far I've come at this point. And yeah, that mindset is always there.
Yeah.
Like that determination. It's just the time when I was ill, I was determined to do one thing, but I flipped that on the other way now, and I'm determined to help other people.
Yeah.
And that's and this drive just never leaves my body.
That's awesome. That's what I was going to ask. Do you think, it sounds like to me, maybe that played a part? You mentioned you were working with youth and that aspect, and now you're a support worker in the health space as well. Do you think that your experience there and these good people that wrapped themselves around and provided that support influenced your decision to move into that path?
Well,
in some way,
I've always wanted to give something back, and without being too much of, I always thought I could give something back to the community to help others. And I guess that side of me always comes, whether it's my profession or even this. I'm so enthusiastic to help people on YouTube, and you know what I mean. Let's all do something together. You know, that part of me always comes out. I think that's why I chose those jobs. You know.
Awesome, man. That's fantastic, Mr. Hazard. Sorry, I've been hogging the airways.
No, not at all, man. I was captivated there because it's just that was something I didn't really expect.
But if honestly wanting to ask me a question about those times, I'll happily enough tell you, because I've got there's no bitter feelings to it. It's something I had to build on, and you know what? A lot of people don't get this experience in life, and I've instead of seeing it as a hindrance and something to weigh me down, I'm like, you know what? Let's show people what you can achieve from this. Because since I was admitted to the hospital as well, I've done talks to medical students in universities. Yeah, and being a male perspective as well, they want to hear a first-hand account, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
I've done that quite a few times. So yeah,
So
just fire away if you wanted to know anything.
Would you say like that like phase of your life, was that a kickstart to your current fitness endeavours, so to speak? Because like when I look at you, James, you're quite bulky and so forth, so you've obviously packed a bit of meat.
Yeah.
On you for 8 days, it was like weight training or something like that, something you decided to go into to sort of...
You know what? I was always training from a younger age. Younger age.
Training through this period?
Oh yeah, you don't want to know. Seriously, it was horrible. It was horrible. I would get to a point where I'm eating less calories. Like what a portion of, for me, I was diagnosed with anorexia and nervosa. And like a meal for me would be like a small broccoli floret, just a tiny bit, a little half spoon of baked beans, and like a tiny, tiny, minuscule bit of like a red onion. Put that together, and that's not even a meal. And I would have that 3-4 times a day. Just chucking pepper, salt, all types on it. And my parents would be like, "What is he doing?" And they could just, the smell coming out of the kitchen. I'm like, I was totally antisocial, totally in my head. I didn't want to be around people at all.
Wow.
Look back on it, I wanted to die, to be honest with you. And
really,
yeah, it's, you know what, if you do it like that, you could lose weight pretty fast. So every single week I was dropping weight like 5 pounds a week.
So was it when your mum found you and then the doctors did, is that when everything shifted, when you said, when the person said you're going to hospital tomorrow whether you like it or not, basically? And if you hadn't have been found, it could have been a different story?
I was told, and if I wasn't admitted in less than a month, I would have been dead. So,
out, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because my heart would have just given up. Because even in hospital, I was around people, they died. Because your heart can't keep this up for years and years.
Yeah.
But I was doing it at such an extreme level. It was everything went downhill very fast. It got to a point where just climbing up a staircase, I had to hold on. I was crawling up a staircase. I couldn't walk. Up. You know, looking back at it, like I said to you, it feels like a totally different person. But I think from both of your questions, I had to figure out why I wanted to do something, why I wanted to get better. And that took years because I was just getting better for other people's benefit. I didn't think of it for myself. So until I came to the realization that I wanted to do it for me, just like this YouTube channel, I want to do it for me.
Yeah.
I've become determined, and that's what you're seeing right now.
Good.
You know, there's no messing about with me right now. Like I'm doing it, whether you like it or not. So just like I'll say it, whether you like it or not.
The brews.
You know? It's my mentality, and I think, you know, like you were talking to me earlier, you know, it's that mindset that you need to have. I don't know if it's nature or nurture, but to me, it's definitely nurtured.
Oh, I think it's nurtured. I definitely think it's nurtured.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that can be developed, and you need to find an avenue to develop it through. And that's one thing like I like to say or like talk about, and particularly my Instagram channel when I make short videos, is that the mindset can be cultivated. You just need to find the vehicle to cultivate it through. And like for me, that's been the case with burpees. Burpees have allowed me to cultivate a mindset where I can push through like the pain zone or the dark place and so forth, and experience results that I've never felt before. I think.
Can I ask you a question?
Everything. Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
What's your take on when you actually during a workout, when you get to that dark place? What's both of your takes on it?
You go, Lee.
I just like I've just convinced myself now that when I hit that zone, that's when I'm making like the physical benefits are starting to manifest themselves and take place. I also think I use my YouTube channel as a sort of spur as well. I always go, I cannot fail at this point. I know people are going to watch these videos, and it's not letting myself down as well. Like I tend to beat myself up if I don't get a workout done or I don't follow it through. Because
Yeah.
I'm comparing myself. I know I shouldn't do it, but I'm comparing myself to hundreds of guys that I'm seeing in videos. Like I'm seeing guys like yourself and like Tone of and so forth that are just sort of that are so far ahead of the pack.
Next level, eh?
These are the sort of things that just go through my head.
Cool.
Because I need to kind of maintain a standard that I set as well.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
guys like yourself inspire me by putting these like absolutely crushing workouts.
Awesome. Thanks, Lee. Yeah, great question. Thanks, James. For me, where does my mindset go? I guess my experiences for me, it's pretty simple and basic. Probably sounds pretty boring. I don't have anything special going on in my head. I've said I'm going to do a certain number or whatever that is, or the type of workout that I'm going to do, and I'll stay there and finish it, do it until I finish it. And if it's pitch black at night, if I start in the morning and then it's late at night, by the time I finish, I don't care. I'll get it done some way. Like my mindset is just, I've been through hard things before, and if I've gotten through that, I can get through this, if that makes sense. So that's my real sort of basic approach of what goes on up here. There's not a lot happening up here when I'm in the middle of a training session, to be honest. Just trying
Yeah,
to make sure I
I
count
watched your
properly.
video, Joe. I watched it when you finally got to 300 under
Yeah.
20,
Oh yeah,
20
yeah.
minutes, and you were counting louder and louder right at the end. I was like, this is it. He's got it. This is a dark place.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was counting like 19, 20,
Yeah.
like 89, 90, 91.
I needed to
Yes.
hurry up. Yeah, I was like, yes. Yeah, that was good. That was such a relief. And then you know what's really funny, and then it puts things in perspective, is when I see people like you just cruising 299, 300, and I look at the time and it's like 17 minutes something. I was like, bloody hell. But it's awesome, man. It's inspiring. It's really cool. I wanted to ask James, what are you weighing now? What's your weight now these days? What's your normal sort of kicking around?
It's either the high end of 12 stone or just over 13.
What height
What's
are
that
you?
in? What's that in kgs?
Uh,
I'll
five
look it up
seven.
later.
5'7".
5'7".
That's really sturdy.
Yeah.
Because I've
What are
got
you,
down to
Lee?
like, I think I'm doing it like 70 kilograms right now.
Yeah.
Like I've kind of just been trying. Like the way I look at it is I think to get the high numbers of body weight, you need to get as light as you possibly can and get that relative strength up. I think that the more weight you carry, you're going to get stronger, but it's going to be harder getting those like 500s, 600s in good times, definitely. And Navy SEALs as well. I'm trying to make the Navy. And I feel like if I can just drop a few more kilos, it'll become a lot easier. And I don't know why I'm deluding myself because that's never going to happen.
They'll never get easier.
It's never going to happen, is it?
What's your plan for the Navy SEALs, Lee?
My original plan was to get 500 Navy SEALs, but I don't know, man. That's a big investment because my time is at a premium, and the only time at this point where I can get those long workouts in is on a Saturday and Sunday when I'm on a weekend shift at work. I'll just go to I'll go to Elite Gym in Glasgow, and what I'll do is I'll get there at 5 in the morning and just set 2 hours off. But this 500 Navy SEALs, man, that's just. I've done 200 and that was brutal. So.
I've done 300s before. I didn't release that video, but my arms just didn't feel good doing it. I was like,
No.
it didn't feel like I was benefiting my arms. It just felt like it was getting sore.
Yeah, well, I'm getting a niggle up my back with a lot of Navy SEALs. I tend to find that when I'm standing up straight at work and I'm on a computer, like being in that position for a while, my back was starting to ache.
Yeah.
And then I stopped doing Navy SEALs for a while and the pain started to go away. So I think the Navy SEALs, as much as I love them, I think they do take a brutal toll on the body. I think that's probably the one that you suffer from the most when you're doing your burpees. One pumps and so forth, you can do for days, but
Yeah.
Navy SEALs, you need to get that wee bit of recovery in after a Navy SEAL.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
Navy,
definitely.
I done. What's put me off the Navy SEALs is I done 502 pumps, and it was probably one of the hardest workouts I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, right.
Completely annihilated me. Completely annihilated me. You know that way you go into these workouts and you're fresh and you think, I am going to annihilate this. And then you get 100 reps in and you go, holy, how am I going to get through? How am I going to get through this? And you're just your head's a mess. But you've got the camera rolling. And you think,
All your planning just goes out the window at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
all the planning,
And
all
it's
the
just like, I
pacing.
just need to
Mike
get it
Tyson
done.
quote.
Just get it done.
It does.
Yeah.
And I'll review
So-
it afterwards.
That's put me off a wee bit. That's put me off a wee bit. But I know I'll get it done eventually. I'm just trying to figure out a strategy for the Navy SEALs, get the nice pace, figure out how many to do every second and so forth. That's a wee thing I've took for the busy dad as well. He's quite good for that. Like establishing doing a Navy SEAL once every like 5 seconds or
Yeah,
just getting
yeah.
that nice pace. So,
Who,
aye, 500 Navy SEALs. Sorry.
No, you're all right. Hey, James, who has Lee asked this question to Busy Dad? I really like the question. Actually, I want to ask it to you. I'll steal it before Lee gets to it. Who's got your eye on YouTube? Who do you follow? Who do you watch? Or do you pay much attention to any particular people on YouTube, like Burpee Zikram or Tone Irv or those sorts of people, or Iron Wolf, obviously, and that sort of thing? Are there people that you sort of, when they pop up or that you maybe subscribe to, they pop up and you go, I'm going to see what they've done, sort of thing?
Well, two people that I used to watch that don't record videos anymore for some reason, they just haven't done it for a while, one was some door guy. You've probably watched him
Some
before.
door guy, yeah, I've seen that guy.
Watched him. I used to watch him and I was like, wow, just seeing him doing anything. To me, watching him, I'd prefer to watch him than Iron Wolf.
Right.
Because it was just straight to the point. There's no talking anything and just get it done, switch it off.
Yeah.
That was more my style of video. And then the other guy was, you've probably never heard of him. It's a guy called My BS Life. And he used to look,
I haven't.
never heard of it. He's like some Canadian guy. And this guy was a maniac. Like his form was a little bit suspect, but he was an absolute maniac. Like he started doing his own little burpee routine on the side of a road on a highway in Canada. He's just got the mat out and cars are going past him and he's like just doing this little jumping thing. And you're like, you know what? At first when you watch it, you're like, really? Then you watch it again, you're like, this guy's comedy, man. I want to watch this again. You might get hit by a car. This is great.
I know, but you can totally identify with that because there's like times I take my daughter to a dance class and a Saturday and it's like at a car park and there's times I'm thinking I might just bust out about 100 burpees while I'm waiting for her. But I just know that that's what my sort of confidence kicks in because I'm surrounded by all these parents that are just waiting for their kids. I'm thinking, no, I just couldn't do that. But I've got that inside me because I just love my burpees that much and sometimes you get a bit neurotic about getting them done.
Yeah.
You know what? But they're addictive, aren't they?
Oh, they're very addictive.
They
All the
are.
crack cocaine exercises.
Hey, James, I wanted to ask, so your missus or your wife, are you married or you married at the moment? How did you meet her? How did you guys meet together?
Getting very personal now, aren't we?
I know. This is your opportunity to tell the real story in case your wife ever wants to come on the podcast.
Well, she will be in a future video.
Awesome.
She will be
That's
on
what
a
I
future
mean.
video.
So
That's one. But she's putting it off at the moment. She's like, wait until the end of the week when I feel a little bit better. I'm like, fine. I love you enough to let that happen.
Yeah. Did you meet her doing burpees? Did you introduce her to the Brews burpee?
No, but she had to get along with the burpee ride because it wasn't going to happen unless that worked. So she loves them. She loves doing them. Even when she says she hates them, she still loves them.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so what does she do for work? How did you guys meet? You still haven't, I like how you've tried to avoid the question, but you don't need to answer it if you don't want to.
We actually met on a dating site. So
awesome.
And you know what? They do work because we're strong. So
I've got some friends that have met that way. Yeah. They've been married for more than 10 years. So No, that's great. And so is she into right into health and fitness as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a workout tonight.
And is that the one you're talking about? It's going to be posted up, or?
Well, we did like a interval training. We normally do that throughout the week. It helps her, and yeah, it's just another way for us to do things together. So
Nice.
it's great. Do you work out with your partners?
My wife won't work out with me, so I lure the kids in every now and then. So yeah, my wife does her own thing, so she'll think.
Do you lure them in and then just lock the door and be like,
yeah. Actually, you know what? Sometimes I'll let them have their own space, but other times, if they've been mincing around a bit or just sitting around and lazing about, not doing too much, so that come now, and then they come. They're like, drag their feet, but they'll come. My wife on the other end, she's like, nah, I'm not doing burpees. She does her own thing.
All right, okay.
Yeah. What about you, Lee?
Me and my wife, we used to go running together, but our schedules is just with childcare and so forth. It's just not really something that we can implement in our lives. We're kind of really busy with the kids. Busy dad, the real busy dad. But hopefully that's something we can resume again at some point. Because I enjoy our company and good jogging partner.
Oh, that's good. Nice, good question. Good question, James. I like, hey, flick that back to us. Hey, what are some of your goals that you've got for you, James? Like, what are your goals, training wise for you at the moment? I love how you're about having fun and pushing yourself and pushing the tempo of the stuff that you're doing. Have you got any specific goals? Are you training for maybe not necessarily a marathon, but to complete a set number of burpees or a type of burpee or a particular, have you got this big plan for a particular type of session or workout that you've got in mind that you want to do, and then put out there for us to invite us all to have a look at it and have a go at it, or anything like that on the horizon?
You know what? I just want to see how far my channel can go right now.
Awesome.
That's a big thing for me. I didn't think it was actually going to kick off. And then all of a sudden my subs are starting to go up, and I'm getting a lot of I'm getting a lot of interaction from people as well. I'm getting like people, you can tell they're in the army. You can see in their avatar, and they're like, "That's not a burpee," blah, blah, blah. And you're like,
Lee was just talking about this.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on, James.
No, well, it's quite interesting because they all say the same thing. They're like, it has to have a clap at the top. You're not. That's a 0. That's not a 1. I'm like, okay, all right. That's your interpretation of it, right?
I know.
Right, nothing but love for you.
Yeah.
I know. I'm always just like, do you know what? Give me 100 Navy SEALs and get back to me.
And post it, put it up.
Just give me 100 Navy SEALs and we can talk Turkey.
How do you find that?
What comments? Sorry. What comments do you get, Lee? Do you get any like suspect comments from people like, "Oh, you're not doing that right. What's this?" And
do you know what? See, my YouTube is very positive. I very rarely get any negative comments, which kind of lulls you into a false sense of security. Because when you do get a negative comment, you're like, "What the hell would I do with this?" Because you know yourself.
I love it. I go back and forth with them.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I do that on my Instagram because I put up reels, and like I had an altercation the other day where I wrote about burpees, and a guy comes in straight away and he's like, "That's not a burpee, that's not a jump, it's not an explosive movement. You're saying it can build muscle, it can't build muscle, it only increases VO2." And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, who trolls the internet and thinks I'm going to put somebody right today? Like, I am so annoyed. That guy, I need to let that guy know he is not. And I'm like, mate, get a life, man. Get a life. But like you, I just wind them up. I'm like, I just put the wee smiley faces in. I'm like, mate, you are mental. Mate.
Oh, well, the thing with me is I double down. I'm like, I want you to send me a video you've done one rep, and no one ever does it. No one ever does it, and you're like, you've got no picture on your avatar, you've got no videos, and you're telling me how to do something.
Yeah.
You gotta check yourself.
You know, they've probably tried it and gone, "Oh, that's crap, delete."
Do you know what? It's funny you say that because like I had comments on my YouTube the other day, and it's like this guy's like, "Dude, I think the Iron Wolf is talking shit about you right now." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yep, Iron Wolf's talking shit about you. I don't know if it's you, but I think it's you." And I'm like, what the hell is going on with these people? Do you know what I mean? They're like, I don't get it, man. YouTube comments are a dark place at times. Like you says, it's faceless guys and they're hiding behind a keyboard and so forth.
Hardcase.
But
I
it's,
think
it's
you've got
good
to
that we've
humour.
got. It's good. There's a discussion going though.
Yeah, yeah. And like I say, it probably helps influence the algorithm too. Draws more attention to you.
Yeah, the more
Oh, I
comments,
couldn't
the
care
better.
about that. I couldn't care about that.
Well, that's great to hear about in terms of the channel growth. I mean, that's a good point because Lee actually mentioned you were saying I think when we were doing the catch up that your channel, James, the subscribers are starting to really build and grow, which is awesome. I think especially from our first one that when we spoke about and Lee mentioned you at the start, James, there was some I think the subscribers was whatever number it was, and now it's just been growing, which is awesome. So
Yeah.
that's another part of what this is about too. You know, we want to hopefully help people and support your guys' channels and get more people going there and experiencing the Brews burpee and and connecting with you more and hopefully leaving more positive than negative. And I think overall the community itself is pretty positive. It may just be some of those randoms that seem to show up on Lee's Instagram.
I'm a polarizing character at times. What can I say?
You must be. You must be. What about yourself, James? With regards to then, okay, so you're hopefully to see the channel grow and all that sort of stuff, and that's great. I think it's really cool that people come out and be open and honest about that because I think you should. I think that's recognition for the work that you're putting out there and for the motivation and the inspiration that it helps others to overcome that. And I truly believe, or Lee and I think we both believe part of why we wanted to start this podcast, getting people like yourself and people within this community on here, it's a great way to hear the stories like what you've just shared, deeply personal and private, which we're huge respect for you for doing that and trusting us with that information. But also we know that it's going to help people. People are going to hear that. Yeah. They're going to resonate with you, James. They're going to want to come back and see more of that. They're going to maybe have questions and reach out to you directly. And that's a beautiful thing whereby you have that opportunity to continue to be able to give back in more ways than just through the phenomenal workouts that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with that anymore.
Definitely.
So for today, what was your workout today? Do you mind sharing it, or have you posted it up already?
Well, funny enough, you were talking about Navy SEALs. I did. I made a video. It's my plyometric version of a Navy SEAL.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh no, seriously, it's not good. I almost deleted it, but you've convinced me, Lee, not to delete it.
No,
I'm just
don't
all
delete
over
it.
the place.
Do you know why? Because I want.
Steam's just coming off my head.
No, don't delete
By
it.
the end of it, I look like Jack Frost.
I want, because I know Fitness Throstle will attempt it. He attempts all your workouts, so I need to see him try this. Fucking Navy SEAL with a somersault at the end or something. Navy SEAL somersaults. Navy Brews.
My Navy SEAL plyometric routine, I only take it to 100, but it still took over 35 minutes.
I know, but that's to me is what's sending like your subscriber count up there. It's the unique sort of workouts that you create. Because like to interject, I always remember like I consider like guys like yourself, and I keep mentioning Tone Up as well, because these are two guys that I kind of bracket together.
Yeah.
And you to me were like these leveled things out and kept guys like myself really humble, because you always, like when you're doing your burpees, you get your first 500 under your belt, your first 1,000, and you think, wait, I'm getting good at this. And then you come across a James Brews video and you feel really insignificant. And it was, I always remember.
You didn't feel that way, you're lying.
I always remember seeing one of James's first videos, and he was like in his bedroom or something like that, and he was just racking out burpees at like some pace. But the video was like 5 or 6 months ago. And it was like, he's got like 2 subscribers at this point, Paulie me and Fitness Throstle. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, this guy, no, this isn't right. And you kind of take that wee sort of, I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't want to see anybody get left behind. You know, if I know how hard burpees are, I know if you're cracking out 529 minutes, man, people need to see that. That is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm really happy at this point because I can see you shooting through the stratosphere. Like, I just think that once you get the YouTube sorted, I mean, I know you were saying to me you need to get your edit, but I don't agree with that. And I think you need to keep it as raw as possible. I think once you master the YouTube like technicality side, the algorithm and so forth, I think that your raw talent is going to
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely be catching.
when I said editing, I didn't mean to take off that rawness from my video. It would always be that
Yeah,
take. It's always going to be that.
yeah.
I just meant, just to make it a little bit more pleasing to the eye. At the moment it's a garage and it's just the same plain background each time.
Oh,
But
but that's good. That's good.
that's not the message. My message is just right there. It's freezing. I'm in there to work.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I do. So yeah.
But that's why people are like drawn to this community because they watch workouts and like at the top of my staircase or in Joe's back garden in the pissing rain or in your garage
In your
like
dungeon.
fitness and your dungeon, the Brews dungeon.
Just
That's
gets all
the joy,
steamy
James.
afterwards and you're like, yes,
The Brews bunker.
manly.
The Brews bunker. I like that. That's what we need to call it, the Brews
That's what we
bunker.
call it, the Brews bunker. We got the Chateau du Burpee.
I know, you need to get your
That's,
back
that's
garden
more
yard
Welsh.
name.
That's not Scottish.
Yeah.
I thought it was French. I thought it was French.
So did I when I heard it.
Do that again,
That's not
Joe.
Scottish.
Oh, his accent. I thought the name Chateau de Burpee. Right, sorry.
Crack up. Yeah, but yeah, the Brews bunker. I think that's a good name for it. You put a banner up in the background. Mate, there's a lot of sweat and steam going off in that place, mate. There's a lot of hard work. I'm talking about burpees, man. I'm talking about burpees. Yeah. Come on, Lee.
Sorry.
There's a lot. Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. I see the movement from you, James, and I see the sweating. And then when you're counting out and just going, this guy's not suffering. He's not working hard enough, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel.
Yeah. It needs to be. We want to see more suffering, don't we, Lee? We want to see you like hunched over like we are, hands on our knees, spitting everywhere.
Spitting blood.
I know.
No. Fighting off a rattlesnake on the other side of the video
know.
as well.
Blowing snot out.
But he's like James Bond.
Yeah, that's true.
The name's Brews, James Brews.
Yeah, mate, it's awesome. So what's any tips for what would be your top tips, James, for anybody in this community or anybody wanting to get on board in this type of or doing this type of stuff in terms of burpees or body weight stuff? What are some lessons that you've learned over time that you would want to share or would hope that people might try to take away? With obviously mindset is a big one, which we've picked up from you today, which is huge, and that's awesome. I think there's a lot of I think that's 100% valid with everything that you said, both you and Lee. Have you got some other tips or gems that you've found that stay with you as well, that help you day to day with your own training and stuff like that?
Sometimes I forget it, but to remain humble. Yeah, there's always others that are less fortunate than yourself. Yeah. Take it one day at a time. It's people see videos and just want to emulate. It's the be all or end all, and if they can't do it, I'm just scrapping this altogether. It's a step-by-step process. Get the form correct first. Yeah. If you want to start making videos, fantastic. I love seeing people that just they do it in their back garden and they haven't got a lot of subscribers, and you click like, you want to support that. But I think people feel it's too daunting to get started like that, and they think they might get laughed at or ridiculed, however they do it. But everyone's got their own style. I've got my own style. You've got your own style. Lee's got his own style, and it shouldn't be celebrated, but we should be sharing this about. And to me, that's imperative.
Awesome, beautiful, man. Love those points. They're great points there. Remaining humble, one day at a time. And I like that aspect. Don't worry about what other people think. We've all got our own style. We've all got our own method. We've all got our own little space in terms of what we have, and sharing that beautiful messages, man. Thanks for that, Mr. Hazard.
Nah, like man, I'm happy with everything that James has said tonight. It's been very illuminating conversation.
Yeah, had a good laugh
Uh,
along the way.
absolutely, absolutely, and it's good to see his team doing quite well in the Scottish League as well.
Oh yeah,
I think they're
fantastic.
unbeaten.
Well, we were until
But
this
but
weekend, but that's another story.
but I've got a wee bombshell to drop, James.
Go for it.
What's that?
I was watching one of these videos the other day, and it was the 500 unbroken reps, and I noticed that there was a miscount at one point.
Was
There
there?
was a sit. Nah, so if you go to the 72nd rep, it jumps immediately to the 74th.
Does it? Well, you know
So
what?
that means
Well,
that video is now null and void.
Which
And
which
you have
one
to-
was
you-
it?
He
just
was
wants
it,
to
was
make
it the
you do
first
it
take
again.
or was it the second
the
take?
the 500 unbroken reps, the response to Iron Wolf, the rage filled
Right, that
video.
one. That
So
one.
you're
Well, tell
gonna
you what, that's fine. That's fine. I'll hold the first video to high esteem then.
No, we want you to do it again, James. So it's null and void.
He's trying to null and void it.
No, you know what? I
Yeah,
want
correct.
people to count it because unless you're sitting there counting it out, I'm not going to do it. So, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll
Well,
make another video.
Unless they should send
I'll
you
try.
theirs.
Tell you what. I'll give you a 10-minute head start, Lee. 10-minute head start before I
Listen,
start.
just-
And see who comes in last. Huh?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. You can't help yourself, can you?
I do love that goal we scored at Ibrox the last time we played you. Right at the last bit.
That's awesome.
There was like
You haven't
1,000 Hearts supporters.
Have you ever experienced a league title win at any point in your life, James?
Hey, I'm humble. You want to throw your thing at me? That's absolutely fine.
He's remaining humble.
No,
He's
but
a
listen,
stirrer.
James, we definitely have to do a collaboration at one point. That's something that I would be very eager
That would be
I
awesome.
love
to
it.
do
Yeah.
to see if I could keep up with you. So even if I have to come up to Aberdeen at some point, I'm definitely going to make this happen.
That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely. That's
And
on
if
the
you come to
cards for me.
Glasgow,
Exactly.
good mate, I'll hold you
And
to that.
we'll do one rep at a time.
One rep at a time, mate. Keep a nice pace.
Yeah, and we'll go up to 10,000.
But no bruise burpees, mate, please. No bruise burpees. I want to travel up to Aberdeen for a bruise burpee, man. It takes a lot to get me to go to Aberdeen, I'll tell you.
That would be an awesome collab, gents, to see that happen. Definitely. Hey, just finally from me before I let Lee wrap up and yourself, James, any final comments? Mr. Brews, mate, privilege and honor to have you on the podcast today. Thank you so much for your time, for the insights that you've shared, for what you add to this community in such positive ways and inspiring and motivating ways. We appreciate the rawness and honesty and authenticity of just the way you've shown up today and freely shared, parts of yourself for us and for this community. And I just absolute respect for you, my friend. Really appreciate you spending and giving of your time for us today, and wish you all the best. We will definitely be adding your links and everything into the podcast and everything. We want people within this community, if you haven't already, please jump on over and support James with his channel and with everything that's happening. Try out some of his workouts. You won't regret it. Or you might regret it. I have, but they're definitely good for you. And mate, we wish you all the best, man. Massive respect, huge salute. Thank you for everything you're doing, James. I'll hand over to Lee.
Thank you.
Oh, it's just been an absolute pleasure. I've always wanted to kind of speak to James.
Just so you could
Thanks,
rib him.
Dad.
And just obviously get that wee bit about football in at the end there. But listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. A great story. Looking forward to more of the content. And I'm also very happy that, I'm looking at this video now. I've noticed we've got a kiwi stuck between a big Scottish sandwich.
We're gonna teach him some
Took a while
slang.
for you to get that one there, Joe.
Is it? Yeah, I think
No. He knows enough. Have you heard his Scottish accent?
It's
You
crap.
and me. There you go, eh?
Cheers, Lee. Awesome.
But no,
James.
listen, really enjoying myself as usual.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Mate, So yeah, on that note, mate, continue the move, sweat and suffering, Mr. Brews and Mr. Hazard and everybody else within this community. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. And like we said, get on over, support, subscribe, like, comment in James Brews' channel, and let's keep this going.
Okay, thank you.